New report. Pakistan. The anger grows over first ground assault by U.S. troops. And now, Pakistani military officials fear American intervention in the tribal areas in Pakistan could spark a rebellion, derailing counter-terrorism operations and efforts. This is now a real possibility. And what gives the United States the right to go into any country it wants and do anything they want? Kill people? What would happen if somebody else in another country, other people's militaries, were to do a raid over here to take out supposed terrorists or militants? What would happen? Anyway, this is not a very pleasant thing. Anyway, United States forces conducted their first ground assaults into Pakistani territory from bases in Afghanistan early Wednesday morning in a raid on a suspected Taliban stronghold in one of Pakistan's lawless tribal areas. Nonetheless, the attack has caused a furor or an uproar in Pakistan and raised new concerns of a new period of tension between the U.S. and its valuable nuclear-armed ally in the war on terror, the theoretical war on terror, which has now entered a period of political uncertainty after the resignation of President Musharraf last month. And of course, the U.S. has not officially commented on the raid, and leaders of the U.S.-led NATO peacekeeping force in Afghanistan, well, they deny any knowledge of the attack. Just lie, or don't tell the truth, right? But one U.S. official, speaking to CNN on the condition of not using his name, has confirmed that the attack actually occurred and has taken place. Once again, of course, the Pentagon has refused to comment officially on the attack, but several defense officials have acknowledged that U.S. military activity had taken place inside Pakistan. Here we go, opening a new front. How many countries can we subdue? How many countries can we occupy? The senior U.S. official said a small number of U.S. helicopters landed troops or special forces in the village near Angor Ada, where Taliban and Al-Qaeda fighters have supposedly hunkered down over the years. Well, they live there too, I suppose. Local media reports said the troops came out of some choppers and started firing, shooting on civilians, everybody in sight. They just opened up fire indiscriminately. U.S. officials said there may have been a number of women and children in the immediate vicinity. But oh well, they're just casualties of war, collateral damage. It's all about extermination. Exterminating a whole people, isn't it? But he said when the mission began, supposedly everybody came out firing. Well, it was noisy, with all the choppers and everything. He said the U.S. troops specifically attacked 3 buildings in the compound. They were theoretically believed to contain perhaps individuals responsible for training and equipping insurgents who have been crossing the border into Afghanistan in increasing numbers in recent months and staging large-scale, high-profile attacks against U.S. and coalition forces. And of course, there's been no indication that the U.S. troops were targeting Osama bin Laden or his deputy. Where is Osama bin Laden after all these years, America? Anyway, angered and outraged at the violation of sovereignty, the Pakistani government summoned the U.S. ambassador to protest the raid, reports the BBC. Some officials and people say that the raid into Pakistan may signal a more aggressive American strategy towards militants in Pakistan's tribal areas and their cross-border raids into Afghanistan, reports the New York Times. The commando raid by the American forces signaled what top American officials said could be the opening salvo in a much broader campaign by Special Operations Forces against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda inside Pakistan. A secret plan that Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates has been advocating for months within President B.U.S.H's War Council. Sorry, that's still a bad four-letter word. And it also seemed likely to complicate relations with Pakistan. That's probably a given, where the already unstable political situation is getting worse day by day. And now it's been worsened after the resignation last month of President Musharraf, a longtime American puppet or ally. What you're seeing is perhaps a stepping up of activity against militants and sanctuaries in the tribal areas that theoretically, supposedly, should pose a direct threat to United States forces and Afghan forces in Afghanistan, said one senior American official, who had been briefed on the attack and spoke on the condition of not using his name because of the supposed mission's political sensitivity. Or at least I got that part right. And he said, guess what? There's potential to see more, even more. But, here's the but, with political uncertainty and the rising tide of violence, some fear that an aggressive American posture could do more harm than good. And speaking to the Associated Press, AP, a Pakistani general said he feared American attacks could provoke a tribal rebellion against Islamabad, which would, of course, completely derail counter-terrorism operations in the region. No, America is setting itself up for something really bad to happen to this country, to the United States. And it's coming. Yes, it is coming. He said the attack would undermine Pakistan's efforts to isolate Islamic extremists and could threaten NATO's major supply lines, which go from Pakistan's Indian Ocean port of Karachi through the tribal region into Afghanistan. We cannot afford a huge uprising or rebellion at the level of these tribes. He said that would be completely counterproductive and doesn't help the cause of fighting terrorism in the area at all. Bloodshed in the tribal areas has become increasingly common in recent weeks. Well, this is not good news at all. It's not very pleasant either. It's very unpleasant. Anyway, there will be consequences for all these actions that America or the United States is doing. They don't happen in a vacuum. There will be ripples, the ripple effect. It's coming to America, just like the hurricanes. But this one, it's going to be even worse than that in some kind of way, because it's going to be a man-made catastrophe, disaster waiting to happen. There will be consequences, and these are more signs of the end times transition days, and there are many signs, and this is another one.